The DECLARHIN, the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, glittered with the light of 1,000 stars. Massive crystalline walls curved upward to form a perfect dome, giving the illusion that the council members floated in space itself. At the center of the chamber, a holographic display showed a small blue planet, third from an unremarkable yellow star. Earth, Supreme Counselor Vexeri said, his 4 eyes narrowing as he gestured toward the hologram. The tall, gray-skinned alien's voice echoed throughout the chamber. For centuries, we have watched this world with mild curiosity. We classify them as a Level 2 civilization, interesting but ultimately harmless. The 50 council members representing the most powerful species in the galaxy murmured among themselves. Some shifted uncomfortably in their gravity-adjusted seats. But now, Vexeri continued, our surveillance has detected something concerning. With a wave of his elongated fingers, the hologram zoomed in to show orbital installations around Earth. These humans have developed technology that should be centuries beyond their reach. Counselor Mephala, her insectoid mandibles clicking nervously, leaned forward. What exactly are we looking at? Supreme Counselor. Energy signatures consistent with gravitational manipulation, quantum communications, and this, Vexeri zoomed in further to reveal a massive structure hidden on Earth's moon, appears to be a weapon of unprecedented destructive capability. The chamber erupted in alarmed chatter. Weapons of that magnitude were strictly regulated throughout civilized space. How? Demanded Counselor Drax, a hulking reptilian. How have they advanced so quickly without our knowledge? That is precisely what concerns me, Vexeri replied. These humans have been deliberately concealing their progress. They've created a facade of primitive space exploration, while secretly building weapons that could threaten our dominion. We must act immediately, Counselor Zithra insisted, her translucent skin flushing with agitation. The protocols are clear. Any emerging species that develops weaponry beyond their designated technological tier without proper oversight must be contained. Vexeri nodded gravely. I propose an immediate preemptive strike. We will deploy the 7th Fleet to neutralize these installations and demonstrate the consequences of deception to these humans. The vote was quick and nearly unanimous. Only 3 counselors abstained, citing insufficient evidence. Within moments, the order was transmitted across the galaxy. The 7th Fleet, comprising over 2,000 warships, diverted course toward the Sol system. Earth would learn its place in the galactic hierarchy. Commander Elena Reyes stood before the massive viewscreen in Earth's lunar command center, her dark eyes scanning the tactical display. At 42, she had spent half her life preparing for this day, a day she had hoped would never come. Status report, she demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around her. Lieutenant Commander Jackson approached, his tablet displaying a cascade of incoming data. The alien fleet has just passed Mars orbit, Commander. Our deep space sensors count approximately 2,200 vessels of varying sizes. They'll reach Earth in less than 6 hours. Elena nodded. And our assets. Project Sentinel is at 97% readiness. The 12 prototype vessels are prepared for deployment. Orbital defense platforms are online and fully charged. She took a deep breath. For decades, world governments had pooled resources in absolute secrecy, preparing for potential extraterrestrial threats, while publicly maintaining the appearance of primitive space exploration and petty international rivalries. Behind the scenes, humanity had been unifying and advancing at an extraordinary pace. Send the signal, Elena ordered. Activate Protocol Omega. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations hummed to life. Beneath the lunar surface, 12 sleek warships, humanity's first true interstellar fleet, powered up their engines. In Earth orbit, seemingly ordinary satellites transformed, revealing weapon systems carefully disguised from alien observation. On Earth itself, citizens received emergency broadcasts directing them to underground shelters built under the guise of subway extensions and deep mining operations. General Williams entered the command center, his weathered face grim. "Commander Reyes, the Security Council is requesting your presence in the briefing room." Elena followed him through the pristine white corridors of the lunar base. The facility, officially designated as a scientific outpost, housed Earth's most advanced military command center. In the briefing room, holographic projections of world leaders waited anxiously. The President of the United Alliance, the secret governing body formed specifically to prepare for this eventuality, spoke first. "Commander Reyes, our worst fears have been realized. Is Project Sentinel ready?" "Yes, Madam President. The fleet is prepared for deployment." "You understand the gravity of what we're asking," the President continued. "Our intelligence suggests these aliens possess technology far beyond what we've developed. This may be a suicide mission." Elena straightened her shoulders. "With respect, Madam President, Project Sentinel was designed with exactly this scenario in mind. Our ships may be fewer in number, but they incorporate technologies the Galactic Council doesn't know we possess." The German Chancellor leaned forward. "And you believe this will be enough to defend Earth?" "No," Elena replied honestly. "But it will be enough to show them that conquering us will cost more than they're willing to pay." After a moment of heavy silence, the President nodded. "Very well. Commander Reyes, you are hereby authorized to engage the alien fleet. May God be with you all." As the transmission ended, Elena turned to General Williams. "Have the pilots report to their ships. It's time to show these aliens what humans are made of." In the vastness of space between Earth and Mars, the Galactic Council's 7th Fleet moved with mathematical precision. At its center, the dreadnought Inevitable Justice carried Fleet Admiral Krivax, one of the most decorated military commanders in Council history. "Admiral," his second-in-command approached. "Our sensors have detected unusual activity around the target planet." Krivax, his translucent skin revealing the complex circulatory system beneath, turned from the command viewport. "Explain." "Energy signatures are spiking around their moon and in orbit. They appear to be activating defense systems." The Admiral's membrane-like eyelids flickered in surprise. "Impossible. Our intelligence indicated they had no knowledge of our approach." "There's more, sir. We're detecting engine signatures consistent with military vessels launching from concealed bases on their moon." For the first time in his 3-century career, Admiral Krivax felt a flicker of uncertainty. The Galactic Council's information network was supposed to be infallible. These humans should have been completely unaware, defenseless. "How many vessels?" "Only 12, Admiral. Small by our standards." Krivax relaxed slightly. 12 primitive ships against the might of the 7th Fleet. It was barely worth considering. "Maintain course. Prepare to deploy containment protocols upon arrival." "Yes, Admiral." The 12 ships of Project Sentinel accelerated away from the lunar surface, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly iridescence. Each vessel was sleek, predatory, and packed with technology that had been developed in absolute secrecy. Elena sat in the command chair of the flagship Defiance, feeling the subtle vibration as the quantum engines pushed them to speeds that theoretical physics had once deemed impossible. "All ships report ready, Commander," her tactical officer announced. "Open a channel to all Sentinel vessels," Elena ordered. Once the connection was established, she spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Commander Reyes. For decades we have prepared for this moment, hoping it would never come. Today we face an enemy that believes us weak, primitive, and unworthy. They expect an easy victory, a simple culling of an upstart species." She paused, surveying the determined faces of her bridge crew. "What they will find instead is humanity's unbreakable will. We may be outnumbered, but we will not be outfought. Remember your training. Remember what we're protecting. Every person on Earth is counting on us to buy them time, to show these aliens that humanity will not bow, will not break, and will not be conquered without a fight that will haunt them for generations." Across the 12 ships, crews steeled themselves for the coming battle. Tactical, bring weapons systems online. Communications, maintain full spectrum scanning. Let's find out what we're up against before they realize what we're capable of. The Sentinel fleet approached the incoming alien armada at tremendous speed, using a stealth system that bent light and other electromagnetic radiation around their hulls. Enemy fleet detected, the sensor officer announced. Massive formation, multiple vessel classes. They're maintaining a coordinated approach vector to Earth. Elena studied the tactical display. They're not even in combat formation. They're not expecting resistance. She smiled grimly. That's our advantage. Target the lead vessels. Prepare phase disruptors. The phase disruptors, weapons theorized by Earth scientists and developed in secret, were designed to temporarily destabilize the molecular bonds in their targets. Not enough to destroy outright, but enough to cripple systems and create chaos. We'll hit hard and fast, Elena continued. Target their propulsion and weapons systems. Then scatter into pre-programmed evasion patterns. Force them to divide their attention. The Sentinel fleet closed the distance, still undetected by the alien armada. In range in 30 seconds, the tactical officer reported. Elena took a deep breath. This moment would forever change human history. All ships on my mark. The distance closed. Fire. 12 beams of coherent energy lanced across the void, striking the lead ships of the alien formation. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The targeted vessels shuddered as their hull integrity fluctuated. Secondary explosions bloomed along their flanks as systems overloaded. Direct hits on all targets, the tactical officer shouted. Enemy vessels are losing power. Break formation and execute evasion pattern Delta, Elena ordered. Continue targeting their command and control systems. The Sentinel ships scattered, each pursuing its own attack vector against the suddenly disorganized alien fleet. Alarms blared across the Galactic Council vessels as they struggled to identify and track the unexpected threat. Admiral Krivax gripped the command rail as his flagship shuddered under another hit from the human vessels. How are they penetrating our shields? He demanded, fury and disbelief warring in his voice. Unknown, Admiral, his science officer replied. Their weapons operate on principles we haven't encountered before. They're not destroying our ships outright, but they're systematically disabling our systems. Krivax watched in mounting horror as the tactical display showed his orderly fleet dissolving into chaos. The humans were employing hit-and-run tactics, striking with surgical precision before disappearing again. Dispatch intercept squadrons. I want those human ships destroyed. But the human vessels were proving extraordinarily difficult to target. They moved with unpredictable patterns, and their hulls seemed to absorb or deflect standard scanning methods. Sir, we're receiving reports of simultaneous attacks on our rear guard. How many ships do they have? Still only 12, Admiral. The tactical officer replied, incredulity evident in his voice. They're just moving impossibly fast. For the first time in his career, Admiral Krivax felt the cold grip of fear. These humans weren't behaving like a species facing extinction. They were fighting with the confidence of warriors who knew exactly what they were doing. Send a priority message to the Supreme Council, he ordered. Inform them that the humans possess technology and military capabilities far beyond our intelligence assessments. Request immediate reinforcements. As another explosion rocked the flagship, Krivax made a decision that would haunt him forever. Order the fleet to regroup at the Mars orbital line. We need to reassess our approach. His second-in-command stared in disbelief. Admiral, are you ordering a retreat? Krivax's eyes hardened. It is a strategic withdrawal. These humans have surprised us once. I will not allow them to do so again. As the damaged Galactic Council fleet began its withdrawal, humanity had won its first battle against the stars. But the war was just beginning. The Ritsi-Keoning, the observation deck of the Defiance, offered a panoramic view of Earth, a fragile blue marble suspended in the void. Commander Elena Reyes stood alone, her reflection ghostly in the reinforced glass. 12 hours had passed since their unexpected victory against the Galactic Council's 7th Fleet. 12 hours of tense waiting. "Commander," Lieutenant Commander Jackson's voice broke the silence. "The Security Council is requesting your presence." Elena nodded, taking one last look at her homeworld before following him to the communications center. The holographic projections of world leaders appeared, their expressions a mixture of relief and grave concern. "Commander Reyes," the President began, "your fleet performed admirably. Against all odds, you've given us a fighting chance." "Thank you, Madam President," Elena replied. "But we've only bought ourselves time. The Galactic Council will return, and in greater numbers." The Russian premier leaned forward. "Our deep space monitoring stations report massive fleet movements throughout the neighboring systems. It appears the Council is mobilizing everything they have." "How long do we have?" Elena asked. 3 days, perhaps 4, the Chinese president answered. "Not nearly enough time to evacuate our population or build additional defenses." General Williams entered the frame. "Commander, tell them about your proposal." Elena straightened. "Our victory wasn't just luck. Project Sentinel incorporated technologies that the Council has never encountered. They expected primitive weapons, nuclear missiles, perhaps rudimentary energy weapons. Instead, they faced quantum-entangled propulsion systems and phase disruptors that ignore conventional shielding. And this gives us an advantage," the German Chancellor asked. "It gives us an opportunity," Elena corrected. "The Council believes they understand humanity, that we're predictable, that we follow their expected patterns of technological development. Their arrogance is their weakness." She gestured, bringing up a holographic model of a massive alien vessel. "This is the inevitable justice, their command ship. Our intelligence suggests it houses their strategic operations center. If we can infiltrate it, we might be able to access their battle plans, perhaps even their fleet coordination protocols." The Security Council members exchanged uneasy glances. "You're proposing a direct assault on their flagship?" the President asked incredulously. "No, Madam President. I'm proposing something they would never expect. A diplomatic mission." Deep in the bowels of the lunar base, Dr. Arjun Singh worked frantically with his team of scientists and engineers. The cavernous laboratory hummed with activity as they assembled what might be humanity's last hope. "Dr. Singh," Elena called as she entered. "The Security Council has approved Operation Trojan. How soon can your device be ready?" Arjun looked up from his workstation, dark circles under his eyes testament to days without sleep. 48 hours, Commander. We're integrating the quantum field generators now." Elena approached the central platform, where a spherical device roughly 2 meters in diameter sat surrounded by diagnostic equipment. "And you're certain this will work?" "In theory," Arjun replied, his Indian accent more pronounced in his exhaustion. "The quantum defensive shield creates a bubble where physical laws can be selectively applied. If it works as designed, no weapon in the Council's arsenal should be able to penetrate it. And if it doesn't work?" Arjun offered a tired smile. "Then we'll never know, Commander. The failure would be rather spectacular." Elena nodded, understanding the grim humor of scientists working under impossible deadlines. "We need to install a prototype on the Defiance immediately. I'm leading a special operation in 36 hours. Arjun's eyes widened. "That's impossible. We need at least 2 days for final calibrations." "We don't have 2 days, Doctor. The Council's reinforcements will arrive in less than 72 hours. We need to strike first." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "I have complete faith in you and your team." As she turned to leave, Arjun called after her. "Commander, what exactly are you planning?" Elena paused at the doorway. "Something so crazy that not even humans would consider it." Admiral Krivak stood before the Galactic Council, his holographic form flickering slightly, a testament to the damage his flagship had sustained. "Explain this catastrophe," Supreme Counselor Bexari demanded, his voice cold with fury. "The humans, They possess technologies we did not anticipate, Krivax replied, struggling to maintain his composure. Their ships moved in ways that defy our tracking systems. Their weapons bypassed our shields as if they weren't there. Impossible. Counselor Zithra interjected. Our intelligence network has monitored their planet for centuries. They were barely achieving space flight 50 years ago. Evidently, Counselor Mephala said quietly, they have been deceiving us. A heavy silence fell over the chamber as the implications sank in. If humans could hide their true technological development so effectively, what else might they be capable of? The reinforcement fleets will reach Earth in less than 3 cycles, Vexeri finally said. Admiral, you will coordinate with the combined armée. This time, there will be no retreat. The human threat must be eliminated entirely. Supreme Counselor, Krivax began hesitantly, perhaps we should reconsider. These humans have demonstrated capabilities beyond. Are you questioning the Council's decision, Admiral? Vexeri's 4 eyes narrowed dangerously. Krivax stiffened. No, Supreme Counselor. I will carry out my orders. As the holographic transmission ended, Krivax turned to his second-in-command. Prepare the fleet. We will rendezvous with the reinforcements at the designated coordinates. Yes, Admiral. And what of the humans? Do we anticipate another attack? Krivax stared out at the stars, a strange feeling of foreboding settling over him. The humans have proven unpredictable. Maintain maximum alert status at all times. 24 hours later, a single human vessel emerged from the shadow of Mars. The Defiance, now fitted with Dr. Singh's experimental quantum defensive shield, approached the regrouping alien fleet with its weapons powered down and communication channels open. On the bridge, Alina sat in the command chair, outwardly calm despite the tension gripping her crew. They've detected us, Commander, the tactical officer reported. Multiple weapon systems are locking onto our position. Maintain course, Alina ordered. Communications, broadcast on all frequencies. The communications officer nodded. Channel open. Elena took a deep breath. Attention Galactic Council vessels. This is Commander Elena Reyes of the Earth Defense Force. We approach under a flag of truce to discuss terms with your commanding officer. For several long moments, there was no response. The Defiance continued its approach toward the massive alien fleet, a lone ship against thousands. Commander, the tactical officer warned, their weapons are still locked on us. If they fire, they won't, Elena interrupted, projecting more confidence than she felt. They're curious now. That's all we need. Finally, the communication system crackled. Human vessel. A cold voice responded. You are in violation of Galactic Council decree. Your species has been deemed a threat to galactic stability. There will be no negotiation. Admiral Krivax, Elena replied, having recognized the voice from intelligence briefings. I understand your position. However, I believe it would benefit both our peoples to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. I request permission to come aboard your vessel to discuss potential resolution. Another long pause followed. Elena could almost imagine the debate occurring on the alien flagship. Permission granted. The voice finally responded. You may approach Docking Bay 7. You will be escorted by armed guards at all times. Any deviation from designated pathways will result in immediate termination. Understood, Elena replied, transmitting approach vector now. As the communication ended, her crew stared at her in disbelief. Commander, Jackson whispered, you can't seriously be planning to board their flagship. It's suicide. Helena stood, smoothing her uniform. Lieutenant Commander, the Defiance is yours until I return. Maintain position and be prepared to execute Operation Trojan on my signal. She turned to her security chief. Major Chen, you're with me. Assemble a 4-person team. Standard diplomatic protocols. As the officers hurried to comply, Elena accessed a secure terminal, inputting her authorization code. A hidden compartment in the command console slid open, revealing a small metallic sphere roughly the size of a baseball. What they don't know, she murmured to herself as she pocketed the device, won't hurt them. Yet, the interior of the alien flagship was a marvel of engineering. Corridors stretched in impossible geometries, materials shifted and flowed as if alive, and the artificial gravity adjusted subtly with each step. Elena and her small team were escorted by 8 tall, gray-skinned aliens carrying what appeared to be energy weapons. Impressive ship, Elena commented to their lead escort. How long have you served aboard? The alien regarded her with 4 unblinking eyes. Silence, human. You will speak only when addressed by the Admiral. They were led to a vast, circular chamber. At its center stood Admiral Krivax, his translucent skin revealing pulsing organs beneath. Behind him, a tactical display showed thousands of ships converging on Earth. Commander Reyes, Krivax said, his voice echoing in the chamber. You show considerable courage coming here. Or considerable foolishness, Elena replied with a slight smile. It depends on your perspective. Indeed, you wished to discuss terms. There are none. Your species has developed prohibited technologies and concealed your true capabilities from the Galactic Council. The penalty is extinction. Elena stepped forward, noting how the guards tensed. Admiral, I believe there's been a misunderstanding. Humanity has never been officially informed of these prohibitions. We've had no formal contact with the Galactic Council until now. Ignorance is no excuse, Krivax replied. The natural order of technological development is well established. Your species has violated this order, because we develop differently than you expected. Elena asked, genuine curiosity in her voice. Is that truly a crime worthy of genocide? For the first time, Krivax seemed to hesitate. The Council's decision is final. I am merely its instrument. Elena nodded slowly, moving carefully as she reached into her pocket. The guards raised their weapons, but she showed them the small metallic sphere. A gift, Admiral. A symbol of human artistry. Before anyone could react, she pressed a hidden switch and tossed the sphere into the air. It hovered, spinning rapidly as it emitted a high-pitched whine. What is this? Krivax demanded, backing away. This, Elena said as the sphere began to pulse with energy, is humanity's response to extinction. The sphere exploded in a burst of blinding light. When vision returned to the chamber, Elena and her team were gone. Alarms blared throughout the flagship. Find them, Krivax roared. Lock down all sections. But Elena and her team were already moving, guided by schematics provided by Earth's deep cover intelligence agents who had infiltrated the Galactic Council decades earlier. The small device had done more than create a diversion. It had uploaded a virus into the ship's systems, temporarily blinding internal sensors. This way, Elena directed, leading her team through service corridors toward the ship's central data core. We have 7 minutes before their systems purge the virus. Major Chen checked his specialized scanner. The core is 2 levels down, Commander. Heavy security. As expected, Elena replied. Prepare the quantum disruptors. The team moved with practiced efficiency, encountering sporadic resistance that was quickly neutralized by their advanced weapons. Finally, they reached a massive door guarded by a dozen alien soldiers. Cover me, Elena ordered, activating another device. This one designed to create a localized quantum field disruption. The aliens' weapons misfired as the laws of physics temporarily altered around them. Elena's team rushed forward, incapacitating the confused guards with precision strikes. Get that door open, she commanded. Time is running out. Inside the data core, columns of crystalline structures rose from floor to ceiling, pulsing with light and information. Elena approached the central terminal while her team secured the entrance. Uploading now, she announced, connecting a small device to the alien interface. Earth's best computer scientists had prepared a specialized program designed to infiltrate the Council's network and extract specific information, fleet movements, weapons capabilities, and most importantly, the command protocols that coordinated their massive armada. Commander, Major Chen called urgently. multiple hostiles approaching from all directions. Hold them off, Elena replied, eyes fixed on the download progress. I need 30 more seconds. The sounds of combat filled the chamber as her team engaged the incoming alien forces. Energy weapons discharged, filling the air with the smell of ozone. Download complete, Elena announced, disconnecting the device. Fall back to extraction point. The team fought their way through increasingly heavy resistance, sustaining injuries but continuing to move. They reached a maintenance airlock where emergency escape pods were stored. Get in, Elena ordered, helping a wounded team member into one of the pods. What about you, Commander? Major Chen asked. Elena handed him the data device. Get this back to Earth. That's an order. Before he could protest, she sealed the pod and launched it, along with the others containing her team. Then she turned, weapon raised, to face the approaching aliens. For Earth, she whispered. Admiral Krivax personally led the squad that captured Commander Reyes. She had fought fiercely, disabling several of his soldiers before being subdued. An impressive but futile gesture, Krivax said as she was brought before him, bloody but unbowed. Was it? Elena replied, a small smile playing on her lips. At that moment, alarms blared throughout the ship. Admiral, an officer called frantically. Our fleet command protocols are being overridden. We're losing control of our weapon systems. Krivax turned to Elena, realization dawning in his alien eyes. What have you done? I gave humanity a fighting chance, she answered. Your ships are now receiving contradictory commands. Some will fire on each other. Others will jump to random coordinates. The perfectly coordinated attack you planned has just become chaos. Outside, the massive alien fleet had indeed fallen into disarray. Ships veered off course, some firing at friendly vessels, others powering down completely. This is impossible, Krivax whispered. That's humanity's specialty, Elena replied. Doing the impossible. The ship shuddered as explosions bloomed across the fleet. Taking advantage of the confusion, Earth's small but lethal Sentinel fleet had emerged from hiding, their advanced weapons targeting key vessels with surgical precision. You should have left us alone, Elena continued. We weren't a threat to you until you made us one. Krivax stared at the tactical display in horror as his mighty fleet disintegrated into a free-for-all. The Council, they will send more ships. This is just the beginning. Perhaps, Elena acknowledged, but now they know the cost. And next time, we'll be even more prepared. A massive explosion rocked the flagship as the Defiance, guided by Lieutenant Commander Jackson, executed a precision strike against its propulsion systems. That's my ride, Elena said, seconds before the experimental quantum defensive shield she wore beneath her uniform activated, creating a bubble of altered physics around her. The startled aliens found their weapons useless as she simply walked through them, their physical forms unable to interact with her shifted quantum state. As she reached an external airlock, she turned back to the stunned admiral. Tell your council that Earth is off limits. We didn't start this war, but we will finish it if we must. 3 days later, Elena stood before the United Nations General Assembly, the first time in history that the world's true unified government had revealed itself publicly. The Galactic Council has withdrawn its forces from our solar system, she announced to thunderous applause. But this is not the end. It is merely the beginning of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. The president stepped forward to join her at the podium. Today, we reveal the truth that has been hidden for decades. Earth has been preparing for this moment, unifying in secret while maintaining the illusion of division. Our technological advancement has been deliberately concealed to protect us from exactly this kind of intervention. Screens around the hall displayed images of the advanced technology that had been developed in secret: quantum drives, phase disruptors, and the revolutionary quantum defensive shield that now protected vital Earth installations. The Galactic Council believed they understood humanity, Elena continued. They thought us predictable, following their expected path of development. They were wrong. Our greatest strength has always been our unpredictability, our ability to imagine possibilities beyond conventional thinking. She gazed out at the assembled representatives of humanity. We have won a battle, but the war for our place in the galaxy has just begun. The Council will not easily accept a species that refuses to follow their rules. They will return, and when they do, they must find a unified Earth ready to defend itself. The assembly rose in a standing ovation as Elena concluded her address. Humanity has faced its darkest hour and emerged stronger. We have shown the galaxy that we will not be extinguished, that we will not surrender our right to determine our own destiny. This is not the end of our story. It is merely the first chapter in humanity's cosmic journey. Outside the United Nations, people gathered in streets and squares across the world, looking up at the stars with new understanding. The galaxy had declared war on Earth, and Earth had answered in kind. Whatever came next, humanity would face it together. As night fell across the planet, the stars seemed to shine with new significance. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was reassessing its understanding of the small blue planet that had defied all expectations, and humanity, having glimpsed its potential, would never again hide in the shadows. The galactic stage was set, and Earth had made its entrance with undeniable force. The Council had made their biggest mistake. They had underestimated humanity, and the galaxy would never be the same.